Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Virche, Evermore, continuing science route. I'm in a better mood today. I didn't record multiple parts yesterday, like I sometimes do. I was like, no, I need food, because, like, work had stressed me out, and I was so depressed that I didn't even eat lunch. So I was like, I need food. My head hurts, everything hurts. I'm better today. I mean, I'm not really better because, like, god damn it, like, what the fuck? But, you know, sometimes you just need to be miserable, cry a lot, and then you're fine. I also did some retail therapy. That's how I roll. Plus, also stuff I ordered a long time ago finally arrived today, so I'm like, that's fun, and I got to do my laundry and wash my new clothes that I don't ever get to wear because I don't go into work, so I just have to play dress up in my house. Anyway, that's a whole separate thing. Anyway, back to science round. I love this motherfucker. Let's see what other trauma he dumps on us. Well, he wasn't really trauma dumping. He was just douche dumping. He's being such a little bitch. God. But I like it. Again, I'd like it more, sir, if you were wearing glasses. But, like, I'm like a 95 on the scale of tolerating your bullshit. 95 out of 100, I'll tolerate it. 120% would have tolerated it with glasses, but, Soon after, Science said he was busy doing other things, and he headed back to the Institute. With the discussion over, I asked Adolphe to come to my room in private. I knew he wouldn't believe me right away, so I did my best to explain Onko to him. Now I'm just staring at the way he looks at us, staring at him, and just... Not gonna think about it too much! Alright, anyway. I let him know my other motives for working for Cyan. Adolphe and the Corps were also investigating the weird deaths and Boro's identity. He also opened an investigation on that shadowy figure that killed Boro back then. Lucas 3. So I suggested that, if I could work at the Institute, it should be easier for us to share information. Plus, Cyan's really hot and I enjoy looking at. It has nothing to do with why I want to work there and clean his room. To be fair, I don't like cleaning, but I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I might be like a 7 or 8 on I'd clean his room just so I could stare at that bitch. And I don't like cleaning. She's like, I like cleaning. It's a joy. Because she's crazy. But, like, I hate cleaning and I'd still fucking do it just to be around that bitch. With that decided, Adolphe and I spent a few hours trying to convince Mother. She finally gave in on the condition that Adolphe periodically check in on me at the Institute. Just text beforehand in case I'm like, fucking him on his desk or some shit. Like, in case he has other special, air quotes, projects he wants me to work on. Projects being him that I'm working on. You know what I'm saying. Having sex with him on his desk. Or under it. Or God knows. Anyway. And so we finally got the approval I needed from my foster mother to begin my work. Was she was going to say no? Because, then science route's over. See, there's just something in the way he's looking at us with the head tilted. That is the way Adolphe looks at us when he's just blankly staring at us with his big eyes. Like, okay. Alright. Nope. I'm gonna take that, pop it in a box in the back of my eye. We ain't got time to think about that. We do. I have all the time in the world to theorize about that, but I don't even want to because, that's a whole can of worms I'm not ready to open yet, but interesting. Anyway. Reconsider, dear princess. I cannot allow you to work with that man as your partner. The moment I arrived at the Lycris fields, the Watchman of Death, the very reason I decided to accept the job offer, immediately tried to stop me the moment we met. This is interesting. Okay. So, obviously with Lucas, he was like, fuck no, that man's dangerous! And, okay, we saw that. Right? Did he say anything about Mathis? Like, ooh, I don't know about this. He warned us, well, he didn't really warn us. He warned us as the player of the game in his own little monologue over here. about Lucas. Like, oh yeah, no. And he tried to warn us about Lucas before he died, basically. The first time. Or one of the times he died. The first time Lucas stabbed him anyway. You know what I mean? So like, we got a warning from him in some capacity to us, the player, and then actually to her, that Lucas was dangerous. You know what I mean? There was like some kind of like, whoa, no, don't do that. I don't remember him popping up and being like, yeah, Mathis is kind of. Or was he, am I misremembering? Am I trying to like force a memory in here? That like with Mathis, he's like, why can't I get a read on him? Because Mathis isn't a real boy? You know what I mean? Was he like, oh, what's this deal? Was he like more confused about Mathis? Am I misremembering that? Am I just remembering what I want to remember? Or like trying to make the pieces make sense? You know what I mean? So one of you guys will tell me. We'll be basically in the last route by the time you see this, probably. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably not true because I got to start a new game after we record Cyan's route, so it'll be a while before I get back to this unless we're really getting behind time. So, but yeah, so that's interesting that he warned us against Lucas. We know why. He's warning us against Cyan. I mean, I don't know exactly why, but I can make some guesses. You know, just Cyan's personality on his own and in general, you know. And as much as you want to take normal Otome logic and be like, no, Cyan's like a robot, but it's okay. We'll just open him up and he'll love us and he'll have a heart. I highly doubt that's actually what's going to happen because this game is trauma central. So, like, you know, there's no way Cyan is not part of the trauma train. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be the normal Otome rules of like, don't worry about it. We'll break down his little walls and we'll find out what a warm and loving little marshmallow he is on the inside. Like, nah, he got nothing. He's just, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna fall in love with him, but I don't know that this isn't gonna be completely one-sided and it's gonna be like, just awful. I don't know, you know? So, yeah, you absolutely, the warning is fair, at least on that respect. God knows what else you're warning us about, but still curious to remember with the Mathis thing, and all I can think of was him being like, huh, why can't I figure out who the fuck this is, you know? My expression turned to one of confusion when I heard Unko's urgent plea. But Unko, Cyan wants to hire me as his maid to handle his daily chores, and we are so not going to listen to Unko because then we wouldn't get Cyan's route. The main purpose of my accepting his offer was for the chance to learn more information about the mysterious depths. I don't intend on involving Cyan in it. So, I must ask you to stop. Should that man find out your powers as death are real, there's no telling what he'll do to you. I feel like Anko's voice is different all the time, and I can't help it. But also, you know what? Now I see where this is going, or might be going, and oh dear, I have an idea in my head now, and well, fuck. He's gonna torture us, and we're gonna... You're gonna be tortured, but you're gonna be happy. Yeah, basically. Listen, Lucas put us in a cage, and I was like, on that, so like, hi. Cyan's just an eccentric researcher. He doesn't seem to be that bad. I haven't even played the game, but I already know that that's foreshadowing badly. She's gonna eat those words. It's not gonna age well. Oh, goddamn. Like, I just, okay. The game's like, hold my beer, wait. Fuck. He even said himself he doesn't believe in rumors or superstitions. Unbelievable. That single word brought a sudden change to Anko's usual calm face. You can say that only because you do not know who he really is. Unbeknownst to you, many have beat to his past actions. Ooh. I really want to know what these, like, freaking things are. I saw intense hatred in his eyes. Anko? Anko snapped out of his fury when he heard me speak his name. Forgive me. I lost control of my emotions. Still, Cyan Brofist is dangerous enough for me to plead that you change your mind. The thing is if he's, like, even if he's got, like, I mean, we know he's got timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly powers. I know I said that backwards. I was just going to say timey-wimey, and then I just figured we should go with the whole thing, and so it was too late. Anyway, we already know he's got that because, like, he kind of, like, the little rewinding. You heard the rewind when we, like, stabbed ourselves in the neck, like, whatever. And he's fixing things. So, like... And there's multiple Onkos, like, in timeline. So, like, he's got some kind of, like, timeline hopping going on, okay? So, like, it's not unreasonable for him to, like, know kind of... I don't want to say the outcome. Because you know what I mean? This is one of many possible outcomes. But if you think about it, in like an Otome game sense, right? You have like, how many love interests do we have here? 6? Yes, 6. So like you've got 6 paths normally before you. There's the common route, and then there's a point where it splits, right? So you could say that there is also technically, maybe not in most games, but in some, there is like just the single woman, best hanging out with my friends, don't need a man ending, right? That's just say the normal path. Let's just say that's the main path. That's where you're on your common route and you're just like, nah, I don't need a man. I'm just going to hang out with my besties and girl time, girl power, single lady, you know, whatever. And that's just say that's the main timeline where you're not with any of your love interests, right? There is a point at the end of that, right? Where certain things about characters would come out. Oh, Lucas is Boro. Mathis isn't a real boy. Cyan is a psychopath. God, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever they are. So if Anko's been to that end, then he knows all the little details about everybody. Then you kind of rewind back to a moment, and he could be from God knows how far into the future, right? He's back here now knowing, I know the outcome of all these people. I know, yes, this timeline that he is in now, it's going to veer off drastically. It veered off drastically when we started to romance Mathis. It veered off when we romanced Lucas. But he still knows Lucas is Boro. You don't know now with me being with Lucas or choosing him as quote-unquote my partner, because he keeps saying your partner. You know what I mean? He doesn't know how drastically that's going to change. He might not have lived through that timeline. You know what I mean? Because this is a branch now. But he knows, I know Lucas is Boro. That motherfucker's dangerous. Please don't do this. It's going to end bad. You know what I mean? He doesn't know the outcome fully because he hasn't, like us. If you played, say, a common route, we know up to the common route end. We know what we know at that point. But let's just say you got to the end of the game and you, like, oh, now you know everyone's secrets. Well, I don't know when I start to romance Lucas. I already know he's Boro, but I don't know what's going to happen in his route. So Anko's like, he is a stabby murderer. Like, he's a stabby McMurderer. He's a murdery McMurderface. Don't stabby McMurderson. Like, you know, don't do that. He doesn't know that we're going to end up in a cage or dead in a cave, basically. Also in a cage. Dead in a cage in a cave. You know, he doesn't know that, but he's like, I know that guy's a murderer, you know? So, like, he knows some shit about Cyan. He doesn't know how this route's gonna go, like, just like we do. But he knows shit about Cyan that we don't know. So this is interesting. Or maybe he absolutely knows exactly what's gonna happen if we choose Cyan as our love interest, and he's like, please don't fucking do this. And that's what all the, like, deleted stuff is that we can't see. I don't know. This game is insane, but I love it. I'm having a great time. Anyway. Still, Cyan Broface is dangerous enough for me to plead that you change your mind. Dangerous? The person who led the country to salvation? The word salvation possesses many meanings. But right now, working under Cyan's about the only means I have to uncover the truth behind the deaths. If I stop now, wouldn't it make things difficult for you, Anko? I cannot deny that, but... After a moment of silent thought, Anko's expression transformed into one of disgust. Are you just jealous because we ain't picking you? Because I'm just saying, the game won't let me. Yet, if you must associate with that man, there is one condition by which you must abide. Concerning your power as death that I am currently suppressing with my own. Let's not let him know you have the ability to accelerate the curse's progress. The moment he finds out, will see you as a beep 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 and harm you. He will see you as a oh god. Oh god, I feel like this is foreshadowing for the route, and I'm scared now. Power is death. The dreadful curse that had maintained and killed so many of my loved ones, maimed and killed so many of my loved ones. My brain is trying to process like what could possibly be in those blanks. Fortunately, he's so out of touch with the world that even the truth to him is indistinguishable from petty gossip. But if he happens to learn the truth, Uncle slipped his hand into his pocket and pulled out something hidden in his clothes. For he can harm you, and no matter how many bodies he's prepared to revive himself, I will till the end of time. I'm sorry? I love Cyan. But this is pretty hot. My god, his eyes are crazy! I was reading the line and just thinking like, sir, that's kind of hot. Like, you would just murder Cyan 1,000,000 times over for me? That's special. And then I notice his goddamn insane eyes. Look at how tiny he's, like, oh my god. I have never seen Anko's eyes look like this. Look at that. Oh, those are crazy pupils. He has never looked this crazy before. What did seriously, Cyan is worse than Lucas? Lucas was like stabbing everyone left and right. He killed Hugo. And you're like, Cyan's worse. Fuck! It's gonna be a great bad time. It became clear to me in that moment, more than on the night he told me to uncover the truth behind the deaths, I saw in his eyes clear and pure malice directed at Cyan. What did Cyan do to you? Okay. Okay, alright. I'm like, what did Cyan do to you? What did Cyan do to Sister Salome? And then I was like, well, if somehow there's something, Adolphe, whatever, that would also make sense why you would hate him, because why would you not hate someone that your mother... I'm just saying it could be a family hate thing. I don't know. Anyway, take that, put that in the back of your mind somewhere on the shelf, because now I can't stop thinking that there's some weird parallel between the two of them, because why? Because that would make sense then why you share a route. Because, like, I mean, to be fair, Anko's never talked about anyone else aside from our love interest. Like, Lucas is a murderer. Well, you would think you'd have beef with him. You clearly have beef with Cyan. So, like, if you were gonna have this, like, oh my god, one or the other route where they're at odds with each other, you would think it would be someone that you absolutely hate. And, like, I can't see why anyone would hate Adolphe. Lucas, sure, he's a stabby murderer. Nathis, nobody hated him except for Camille. To be fair. Okay? Like, and Cyan, I mean, everybody hates him. So, like, I mean, and he's a little bit of a bitch to everyone, so I can kind of understand some people loving him and some people hating him. I get that. But, like, you know, if Anko goes with, like, no, Eve is dangerous, I mean, how could you hate Eve or Hugo or Adolphe? So far, they seem pretty fucking, like, they seem like the likable one. Like, which is concerning, because then what the fuck dark secrets do they hide? Shit. Anyway. Unless Adolphe's dark secret is Anko somehow. Anyway. But why? As the Watchman of Death, it is obvious that I cannot accept an existence that twists the fate given to human lives. Of course, do not go near him. There's no need to concern yourself any further. Anko calmly stated it in a way that hid his emotions. Really, I mean, I already saw the craze in your eyes, dude. Now then, our time tonight is up. I pray that you'll face and overcome your challenges without the help of that man. With that man? And with that, he blended into the flowers and disappeared in a puff of white smoke. I mean, he's got some kind of magic. Anko isn't human, yet he sees Cyan as the real threat and says, I don't know who he really is. Yeah, I'm also curious about that, like, if he's somehow tied to adult. Like, how did you become whatever you are? Because it's not like in this universe there's like, oh, well, we have all sorts of magical creatures. You really don't. So Anko is like the, you know what I mean? Like in the real world, okay? We don't have vampires and werewolves and shit. So if you were talking to like some kind of magical god or something, you'd be like, this is fucking weird. How did you get this way? Because we don't actually have people with, like, it's not like the superhero universe where you're like, yeah, no, superheroes exist. You don't. So if somebody had superhuman, I mean, okay, I guess in this one, technically, you know, you've got Lucas being a freak of nature over here. But, like, for the most part, aside from that, like, it's not like we have a ton of people that are like, oh, we have superheroes, and then we got this guy's got magic ability. Like, it's not like a world where, like, magic exists and you got some people who are spellcasters and shit where, like, having Anko is like, okay, yeah, no, he fits in with the lore. He is, like, completely out of place with the lore, so what the fuck happened to get you to be in this quote-unquote magical ability? Like, how are you doing this? Because I feel like it's not magic, it's got to be some kind of science, probably. Although science and magic, you know, to people in the past, science would look like magic, so, you know. I am Brophy's, the savior. Brophy was. Triumphed over the curse of death. Seen with malice by the watchman of death, an existence like that of a god. I couldn't imagine who he truly was with all the different views people had of him. Obviously she meant Zion. A few days later, the entrance pass from the Institute had arrived, so... Fun times! Now we get to go have magical moments with our beautiful Zion, who's probably going to use us like a guinea pig in a lab rat, and it's... While we're pining and being like, it's okay, because I love you. Okay, at least Mathis loved us before Camille erased that from him. And we just had to accept Camille's love as if it were Mathis's, hoping that maybe Mathis was under there somewhere. That sucks. Lucas loved us. We died for him. But at least he loved us. You know? He did kill us, actually, didn't he? Did he? Yeah, he did. Whatever. But he at least loved us. But I'm not sure with Cyan if it's... We're going to be his lab rat guinea pig. He's going to do horrible experiments on us, and we're just going to deal with the torture while we love him and he doesn't love us. I feel like it's gonna hurt like that. Ugh. I'm finally here. I was gonna fire you if you were late on your first day of work. Good morning, Cyan. I will do my best working for you until I pay off what's due. I look forward to... Cut the formalities. I'll give you instructions along the way. Okay. He's like, formalities tire me out, I'm bored. I quickly followed after Cyan's long stride down the corridor. And there's one thing I need to warn you about entering and leaving the Institute. Do not respond to anyone who approaches you apart from Dahut. Simply ignore them. May I ask why? I was an outsider to those working here, but it'd be rude not to exchange pleasantries. Whenever there's a concentration of power, you'll find unnecessary intrigue and malice. Is that clear enough? The researchers passing by Cyan glared at him coldly. He's the director of the Institute, and they're like, this bitch! The only reason you have a job is because of this bitch. Doesn't mean he's not a bitch, but I'm just saying. I'm just gonna say the CEO of my company actually seems like a nice dude, to be fair. But, like, even if he was, like, kind of like a... like, mega tripping on power, I still don't think I'd glare at him with malice as he walked by. First of all, he's never in my location, because, you know, whatever. But even if he was visiting, I wouldn't be like, ugh, glare at him with malice, because I don't want to get fired! Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need my job. So, like, you'd think that, like, you can say whatever you want behind someone's back. But, like, at the same time, also in a work environment, if you're going to your coworker, oh my god, I know, Cyan's such a twat. And then someone's going to be like, did you know Tom called you a twat? You should fire him. You know what I'm just saying? I'm just fucking saying. You know? I mean, I'm pretty open with, like, people on my team and, like, my manager and being like, this is stupid. We know this, right? Like, I mean, we gotta know, but it's stupid. Because, like, my team's pretty much like that. Like, this is stupid. Okay, yeah, no, we're all in the same, you know what I mean? So we're pretty open like that. But, like, and my complaints, if I ever talk to anybody on my team about specific people, it's literally just the one person who doesn't listen to me because he thinks he doesn't have to listen to a woman. Okay? And everybody else has the same problem. And they're like, yeah, he doesn't really like to listen because, you know, I mean, I'm like, working with him is such a pain in the ass. And, like, other people agree, and they're like, yeah, no, the work he does is kind of sloppy and a mess. So I don't understand, but, like, so you know what I mean? Like, if someone went around like, oh, you said that this guy was a jerk. Yeah, because he fucking is. I'll say it to his face. Like, you need to simmer the hell down, and when I ask you something, I need you to do your damn job. Like, I'm not bossing you around. I'm asking you to look at something that's part of your job. Don't try to pawn it off on me. Like, anyway, not the point. But you kind of have to, like... No, you wouldn't be glaring at the director of the institute like that. But I guess they're not concerned because there's probably not enough researchers, so... And Cyan also probably gives no fucks. Probably how they get away with it, but still.
If you don't want to get involved in politics, abide by that simple rule. If you're taken hostage, I won't do anything for you. Understood?
Okay. He managed to convince me, and I nodded. I think it's too, like, in his case, people might, like, try to talk to you, like, oh, you work for, oh, hey, blah, 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 and, like, thinking you're nice, and you're just gonna chat with them, and they're gonna, like, get dirt on him or something, and he's like, just don't fucking talk to people. There. Also, because we're a little naive and innocent, so, no. Oh my! How have decades of living and dying done nothing to improve that repellent personality of yours, you ancient bastard? I heard the royal family can barely tolerate your wretched behavior these days. Perhaps you can do them all the favor of retiring. Now that I think of it, Mother must have known how it was here, which was why she didn't want me to work. I wonder if she was a researcher at one point. A few minutes later... As if I had stepped back in time, I saw that his room was yet again littered beyond belief. When the things first opened, I was like, it is like it was 2 days ago when we came here. I love that the game brought that up. As if I had stepped back in time, because literally you did. I stared at Cyan incredulously.
For some reason, the room returned to this state an hour after you left.
He's gonna rip my heart out, but goddamn do I love this mess. I suppose this is a talent of sorts. Cyan nodded calmly. Then, can I get started right away?
Yeah, feel free to use any empty baskets or paper bags you find lying around. And that said, don't do anything unnecessary. You need only do the bare minimum that would allow me to conduct my research. I'll kick you out the moment I see you doing anything more, regardless of the reason.
Start to dust his shelf. I don't need you to dust the shelf! Yes, you do. Having made his threat, Cyan left the room. Bare minimum? What does bare minimum mean to him? Fortunately, there was no one around to answer my question. He's mildly insufferable. Like, there's a part of me that's like, he's on the verge of being insufferable, but, like, God, do I love him. I think I want to, like, slap him. Maybe kick him. But then I want to kiss him. I don't really know what's going on here. I made a mental note to ask Cyan later where I could wash his clothes. For now, I picked up the crumpled wads of paper from the floor and expanded the area of my cleaning from before. My broom grazed a pile of books on the floor. I tucked my hair behind my ear as I knelt down to see if they were dusty. Come to think of it, these books have been in the same spot since yesterday. It wasn't just a few books, but a tall stack. Okay, we were literally here yesterday. So, it's not even a couple days. It took, I mean, he said like an hour after you left, but put them on the bookshelf, leave them alone. I feel like we should leave them alone because the books were there yesterday and like, there's a weird... Okay. So I feel like leaving them alone. I'm going to leave them alone because he's got a weird, messy organization. There's sometimes organized chaos. That's the organized chaos. He knows exactly what's in that stack. Leave them there. Don't move them. It's kind of like when I try to organize and clean and put things away. I'm like, where the fuck did I put that thing? It was always right here, but I put it somewhere else and I don't know where it is now. Because I've always known where it was. I can pick things that were in my apartment when I first moved here like 10 fucking years ago, okay? I know exactly where everything is, but I am still trying to figure out where things are in my house that I've lived in for like almost, I'm going on my 3rd year here. It's been 2 full years. And 6 years in my old apartment. So I can picture things 8+ years before in my first apartment. I know where things are. But I have not been able to figure out where anything is in the last 8 years. I will wander on, where the hell is that? Where did that go? Where did I put that? I moved but even in my old apartment that I was in for 6 years, I would always be like, I have no idea where I put it when I moved here. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. But, so I feel like there's some organization in the chaos. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's also the put them on the shelf because that would help him do his work better because they're there and easy to access. In you alphabetize them or whatever. But then again, maybe they're easier to access. I still think leave them alone because Cyan is an organized fucking chaotic mess, so. Oh dear. We're gonna do something with the books and he's gonna decide that we need to die. Okay, he said I will kick you out, but okay. So moving the books or leaving the books is going to probably get us to a bad end? I'm really curious now. I haven't scrolled up aside from save file. So what you're telling me is if I put the books on the shelf and that's the bad choice, Cyan's going to be like, get the fuck out! And then we never see him again, or he literally comes in and, stabs us. But, I'm just saying. It could be a series of choices, but you know how sometimes it's really only one? I'm curious if this one choice leads to a bad end, because holy fuck, this is not what I expected. Leave them alone. Don't put them on the shelf, he'll stab you! Leave them alone! I reached out to the books, but stopped before I actually touched them. Come to think of it, I sometimes stack together books that I'm planning to read. I guess it's not a good idea to touch them without asking first. For all I knew, this might be Cyan's way of keeping things in order. See? Organized chaos. You could just kind of dust the books, around the edges. Because here's the thing. They're all stacked on top of each other, right? But the top book, or if they're, a little akimbo, there might be a little corner sticking out. So you could kind of dust off the books the way they are sitting in this book. I continued cleaning the room, avoiding things that looked important. I thought the place looked a lot cleaner than before. At least I hoped. I mean, yes. It's hard to see progress since I'm avoiding anything that looks important. Making matters worse is that I found more strange pieces in the corner again. What in the world are these fragments of? I will never get over that these people in this world don't know what a motherfucking puzzle is. Cyan suddenly appeared in the room, and before I could ask him any questions...
Good work. You can go now.
Huh?
What? Is there something you want from this room?
You? Is that an option? Not at all, but you did hire me as your maid, so I expected to do more cleaning.
I don't have anything I want you to do now. I'll give you orders when necessary.
I see. This was a lot simpler than I thought. Suddenly I remembered my question. Oh, that's right. Cyan, about the dirty clothes here. Where can I wash them? If there's no place to wash them here, I can take them back with me to have them cleaned.
I'll have the lab coats taken care of since they're saturated with chemicals. You can do what you want with the others.
Understood. I guess conventional washing can't take care of everything. We're gonna grab his clothes, wash them, and then find his underwear in there. He wears lacy thongs, you know it. Listen, if his frickin' liver mark is not a tramp stamp, then he is certainly wearing lacy panties. That's all I'm saying. After stuffing the wrinkled clothes into a bag, I said goodbye and took my leave. As I headed toward the exit... My, oh my! If it isn't Spacey! I assumed it's Dahood if he knows our name. I turned around at the familiar voice. Dahood! Dahood skipped toward me and innocently shook my hand with excitement. It's been a long time. Never thought I'd see you here of all places. I take it you're here for a reason, since you got a pass. Could it be you came to ask about becoming a reliver? If it's for you, I'd love to be your provider and give you the best treatment. I love him. Please don't ever let anything happen to him. We've had enough trauma, okay? I haven't come to a decision just yet. I'm actually here because Cyan hired me as his personal maid. Zion hired you? What do you mean? Huh? He didn't tell you? I briefly explained to Daoud what happened. I am so sorry. I thought Zion would try to change his ways. I didn't think he'd threaten you to do his bidding. Like you don't know the man. Please calm down. You don't have to apologize, Daoud. Aw, your kindness makes it hurt more. I can't believe I'm bothering an 18-year-old girl at my age. Daoud covered his face with embarrassment, and the fact that it's so funny because he's talking like an old man in a 15-year-old body, and that just tickles me. I guess Zion would release you if I came back and took care of him like before, but I'm actually stuck on a team project right now, so even if I weren't fighting with Zion, I couldn't have helped him anyway. Team? I thought you two were researching reliver technology together. No, we don't exactly work round the clock on the same topic. We're in the same organization, but the research varies from person to person. Basically, our priority is joint research, but depending on the progress we make, we may or may not be able to devote time to that. I didn't know that. This was actually surprising. I thought you were always working with Zion. Glad to see it looks like we're getting along. Daoud scratched his cheek happily before returning to the subject. So anyway, I'm so sorry, but you'd be a lifesaver if you could help Zion and put up with his selfish antics for now. Zion might be cynical, but how can I put it? He's just arrogant, but not someone you'd hate. People don't like him because he doesn't like them. All he does is conduct research and ignore everyone else. Well, I guess he tends to look at people objectively, including himself. Right? He'd be more human if he actually had some interest in gaining power or something. From the sound of it, even Daoud didn't fully know Zion, despite being with him for so long. Oh, but if things get tough, feel free to ditch him. Or if he starts to get out of control, just give him some really, really hard liquor, and that'll do the trick. I smiled back at Daoud as he laughed and said he would take responsibility. Give him some hard liquor because he's such a fucking lightweight.
It's fine. I only had one shot. I'll be okay. You look pretty in that dress. Can I wear it?
You know. He has a couple of shots, he's going to be the one walking around in a frilly pink dress, and I'm here for that. I want that in a CG, thank you. I continued my work at the Institute, but my interactions with Zion had been kept to the bare minimum. We hardly ever talk. Every day is just me cleaning, going home. It's like she's disappointed about this. I mean, I am too, but like, girl, you got a crush on him already? Fair, I do too. If Daoud returns tomorrow, it would mean that I've paid off that expensive bracelet in just a few days by doing something I like. Again, cleaning is weird. I can see how one might feel guilty for feeling they have received too much. Oh. After another day of short labor, I ran into Jean on my way back and ended up sharing my concerns. I'm just going to pretend you're not Camille and you're just going to be my precious, beautiful Jean because I love you. Jean was listening to my complaints in earnest, probably because he was in a similar line of work. But from what I've heard, it seems Zion lacks interest in his daily life. Yes, and it isn't unusual to hear him say that he spent another night without sleep. So I was hoping I could help prepare something for him instead of having him eating plain bread every day. Every day? Does he like bread? It's not that he particularly likes it, but I think he doesn't want to spend much time eating. If he's only eating bread, he can still work at the same time. You know, I think we need to introduce him to these things called smoothies. Put some fruits and veggies in there, and some protein maybe, and it's okay. John's response was an unintelligible sigh. He did mention before that he ate a lot of bread, but I never expected it was all he ate. And Zion didn't seem to care much about quality or taste, so he was spending his days eating whatever stale bread he happened upon when he was hungry. Oh my god, he is such a mess. Oh dear god. He is so problematic. There are so many things wrong with Zion. So many that's why they had to make him the pretty whore. They had to make him sexy and show a little bit of skin. They had to make him like that, because otherwise you'd be like, I'm not tolerating this bullshit. You're like, I would not tolerate this bullshit if you weren't this beautiful, motherfucker. Like, Jesus. In terms of nutrition, he took medicines and drips to supplement what he was missing. But wasn't he eating with everyone else back then? Apparently that was a rare case where he actually ate outside. According to Dalit, it was likely that Cyan only ate to pass the time since he couldn't do any research at Adolphe's place. If that's the case, perhaps making a homemade meal would do wonders. Cyan is a grown man, so he should be hungry like any other. Even if he says he's not interested in eating, if someone offered him a delicious meal, I'm sure he couldn't help but eat. Jean's over there like the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, girlfriend. Cook him. Make him some brownies. Cook him. I was going to say cook him some brownies, and I was like, make him brownies. Don't cook brownies. I mean, you bake them, but you know what I mean? Anyway. Even if he doesn't ask for food? Indeed. If you can catch his attention with your cooking, then the rest should be easy. And if he enjoys your cooking, it would alleviate the guilt you feel about your salary. I pondered over Jean's suggestion for a moment. I see. I guess waiting around won't change things, so I'll give it a try. That's the spirit. I will follow your example and improve my cooking so that I can serve the master something delicious. I thanked Jean, who gave me a smile. Speaking of Mathis, how is he doing? I haven't seen him ever since Boro died. It seems he's still trying to reason with himself over his failed attempt at revenge. I've placed a work order with Eve at Karoon to help encourage him. See, Mathis did seem to get along with Eve. Would it be alright for me to visit him once my work with science settles down a bit? Why, of course. The master and I look forward to entertaining you then. If possible, I'd like to invite Cyan as well, but I suppose that would be asking too much. Is it? I'll ask him when I have the chance. Oh no, don't do it. Jean's gonna kidnap Cyan. Now that would be interesting. I parted ways with Jean as I thought about how nice it would be to surround the dinner table with everyone enjoying a meal like before. Why can't all my man harem boyfriends get along? Because they're all trying to kill each other, sorta. I mean, like, Jean's trying to kill Mathis, or using Mathis as a guinea pig. Like, Lucas is trying to kill everyone who's a reliver. You know. Even Adolphe are probably after trying to kill Lucas for being Boro. Hugo's over there like, please just don't stab me, Lucas. Like, and Cyan is like, doesn't give a fuck about anything. So, like, and Anko is like, so pissed at Cyan. This wing of the man harem is going to be problematic, is all I'm saying. After purchasing the groceries at the marsh, I quickly headed back to the orphanage. The next morning, as the children watched me from afar, I began to prepare a light meal for Cyan. You could make him a sandwich, because he's grabbing bread and stuffing it in his mouth, so a sandwich is like I can hold that with one hand and eat. Later, I set out for the institute with a basket of food on my right arm and a basket of clean laundry on my left. I can just imagine just swinging the basket, skipping through town. Because that's how I would be, skipping through town to go see Cyan with his freaking frilly lacy underwear in my basket. I'm just saying. I silently greeted each passing researcher and made my way to Cyan's laboratory. The person I wanted to see was sitting in a chair looking at a floating diagram of light. I suppose it was part of the Institute's unique system that Dahut told me about before. Perhaps there was some security in place since I couldn't see the words or images clearly from where I stood. Cyan was so focused on his research that he didn't seem to notice I came in. Call his name or leave him alone. I feel like we should leave him alone. Just let him do his thing. Because he's in the middle of doing something, so he's busy. Leave him alone. Leave them alone. Leave him alone. Those are literally the two. It's like, don't touch fucking anything or do anything. Don't talk to him. This is weird. Well, I mean, this is like he's busy and he's Cyan and he would punch us if we said something. It appeared he was in the middle of something important, so I decided not to get in his way. It was then that a thought came to mind. I noticed he had an empty basket set atop his desk within reaching distance. If memory served correctly, Cyan used that basket to hold a stock of bread. Seeing that it was empty, I concluded that he must have eaten everything during the night or earlier this morning. Careful not to disturb him, I moved the empty basket away and left in its place the basket of food I prepared. Suddenly I heard a sigh. it would be, Ryan reached out for the basket without looking. Oh my god, look at the CG. I totally made him a sandwich. He grabs a piece of bread and he's like, there is something in this fucking bread. Why is it so good? What the hell? Look at all. Why is his neck so fucking long though in the CG? Like, that's the only thing. It's like he's got a swan neck going on here. I picked up one of the sandwiches I made and held it out in the path of his oncoming hand. Cyan grasped the sandwich and brought it to his mouth to take a bite. He's just thinking it's bread. He has no clue. He's not even paying attention. This is cute. He didn't seem to notice what it was.
Respirator stress test clear. Next, calculate the conditions required from the test subject.
He finished eating the sandwich, at which point I passed him a second one.
No matching subjects. I'll have to report to the same technique. I'll have to resort to the same technique.
He finished the second sandwich without noticing, so I handed him a third. He finished it, and I gave him another. And so it continued, with the occasional cup of tea in between. I kept the sandwich ingredients to a minimum, so none of it spilled out. It was strangely satisfying to watch Cyan eat the sandwiches as I handed them to him. And finally, just as I went to hand him the last one with a smile... And now... Oh, and he moved his eyes. He finally realized that I had been feeding him my sandwiches. He's eaten like 6 fucking sandwiches. He's just like reaching out and he's got a sandwich and then he eats it. And then he's just reaching out, we're putting a sandwich in it, and all of a sudden he's like, have you been feeding me sandwiches? We literally went in the kitchen. Didn't I say that in the last part? Like he's gonna tell us to get in the kitchen and make him a sandwich, and fuck, we just made him a basket full. Oh, Jesus. Oh well, not complaining.
What are you doing?
Well, I wanted you to eat something more nutritious than just bread, so I made some sandwiches before I came over. You were too focused on what you were doing, and I noticed you were reaching out to an empty basket, so...
So you thought I'd eat whatever you gave me?
Yes, and you did. I didn't think, I knew. I was thrown out of enjoying the moment and began to feel embarrassed. With the last sandwich in hand, Cyan sighed, then took a huge bite.
Unbelievable. What were you planning on doing if I kept working and didn't notice your presence at all?
Well, if that happened, I guess I would have either waited until you gave me orders for today or left a note before going home. Cyan? He's shocked. He's like, wait, what?
It seems I've made a very good hire.
He's like,
you were going to sit there quietly while I worked, not annoy me, and you made me sandwiches and I didn't even ask.
Pats on head. Cyan grinned widely and approached me. Oh my god, are you going to pat me on the head? Because I highly doubt you're going to kiss me, but I'll take either one. He came so close that I could touch him if I moved at all. Cyan didn't seem bothered, and...
I've had my share of volunteer maids who take the job to gain access to my power and technology. But every one of them got in my way unnecessarily, all for the sake of supposedly doing what was best for me. They'd mess up my lab without permission or cook meals that took more effort to eat than I needed for sustenance. Worse, they were loud and got in the way of my research for the purpose of conversation.
As he spoke, I realized his previous maids had done everything they could to be kind and considerate of him. They're just being normal people, treating you with normal, decent human decency. Normal, decent human decency. Wow, yeah. Well, you know what I mean? And we're just like, Cyan's a different kind of duck, so I'm just gonna feed him sandwiches. Wait till he notices me. I'm just gonna... You know what I mean? They're just trying to do their jobs, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit here with my thumb up my ass. I'm not gonna do shit, because I'm gonna get yelled at. So, like... But that's exactly what he needs. He needs an unconventional maid for his unconventional little duckness. But to someone who wasn't human, anything that got in the way of his research, anything he perceived as wasting his time in the slightest, was condemned.
I was beyond repulsed by it.
Their efforts meant nothing to him.
No, it's passable, but even he's thrown out some of my personal belongings before. But you're different. It's irritating how depressed you look, but you don't get drunk off your own kindness, and you don't get in my way. Very good.
Cyan bent down a bit to look straight into my eyes.
I've decided. Instead of this arrangement being temporary, I want you for good.
And then he says that with that slutty little, like, angry look. Like, it, every look he has is slutty, okay? He's just a little slut, okay? But, like, that look on his face is that, like, devious, like, oh, yeah, ha, ha, ha. It's such a devious, slutty little face. You know what God damn, I love this motherfucker. His eyes were almost like a vicious serpent's. Yeah, but you know what? I'm into it. I felt an odd pressure as I saw my reflection in the glassy curves of his eyes.
Starting tomorrow, you're no longer an interim employee, but a permanent one. I'll allow you to move freely within the Institute. If anyone objects, I'll have a word with them.
There was a seriousness behind his smile that suggested it might be worse than that. I knew I didn't have the option to refuse. It's like this, he's giving you that beautiful smile, like, see? Like I'm giving you this beautiful little grin. But there is something devious in it. I love it. I mean, I think I have the option to refuse. He's just not going to listen to me. What should I say to Mother and Adolphe? I've basically been kidnapped by Cyan? I felt so hopeless from not being able to refuse this job with seemingly no end. Contrary to my own inner turmoil, Cyan appeared to be in a very good mood. He controlled the floating light panels in front of him, possibly updating my information. Just as I was wondering what to do... Huh? Well, if it isn't Director Brofis! From around the corner appeared Dahut. Behind him was a group of researchers. It was very unusual to see so many gathered behind him, and I was just about to greet Dahut as usual when...
Don't say anything.
His whisper in my ear stopped me. Cyan paused for a moment, then glared at Dahut. I thought they were friends. Do they hate each other in this route? They've always gotten along. You can't hate each other in this one. I can't have that. I mean, I know Cyan's, like, kind of a pain in the ass, but Dahut's always been like, yeah, he's a pain in the ass, but whatever. Like, tolerated him. You can't not tolerate... Oh my god, I don't know if I like this.
Oh, what a coincidence, Dahut.
Or he's still like, or he's being... Are you going to be a petty little bitch because you're like,
you're not cleaning for me, so I hired Spacey to do it.
Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, if that's their little fight thing, I'm okay with that. That's funny. But, like, I don't want them to be really at odds because that just... Like, listen, that'd be like Eve and Hugo actually hating each other. I like their bromance. And these two have a working bromance, but it's still a bromance. You know what I mean, duh? It's like, yeah, Cyan's kind of a pain in the ass and he's a hot fucking mess, and I'd tolerate him and I'd punt him if I could, but like, what are you gonna do? And Cyan's just the odd little duck that he is. But like, Dahut always seemed to at least have his back and not hate him. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I could handle if Dahut hated him. You know? Fed up and like, oh my god, he's frustrating, yes, but not like, I'm gonna burn you, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I could handle that. Like, you know? I don't know. Ooh. Concerned, man.
I haven't seen you outside of our joint research. I assume you're still working to increase memory capacity. If you have time to waste like that, I'd rather you help me with my work.
Unfortunately, I don't agree that it's a waste. But that may be because I'm not heartless. For a moment, I couldn't believe who was speaking. The tone of his voice was completely different, devoid of any warmth. His playful smile and childish respect for Cyan had transformed into cold bitterness. Unless he's putting on a front in front of the other researchers? Because it's like, oh no, I wanted you to actually not be at odds with each other. What? Glanced at me as I stood in shock, then looked back at Cyan. Advancing this technology will one day lead to the increased capacity of all relivers' emotions. In other words, they'll be created with more humanity and be a vastly improved version of you. You know what? I'm 100% for Dahut's research.
You've been saying that for how many years now? If you continue to waste resources on useless research, the appropriate action will be taken.
You don't need to tell me. What I do need is for you to stop interrupting our work.
Forgive me. I'm an old man who's given to lecturing. After all, I can't stand when my talented subordinates waste their lives on pointless endeavors.
In response to his cynicism, Dahid's subordinates all glared at Cyan. I'm wondering if they're like, this is like a front they're putting up. You know what I mean? I'm sure Cyan also is like, I think your research is pointless. Because we kind of saw that when he was researching Nadia, you know what I mean? Like the thing, and Cyan's like, yeah, this is pointless. But like, he wasn't like being antagonistic like he kind of is now, you know what I mean? And like, maybe they didn't put that in because they don't want you to know until you get here, but I don't like this. I don't want them to antagonize each other. I want them to actually be kind of on friendly terms, even if they have to, well, we play the antagonistic game in front of other people type of a thing. But also, Cyan really thinks his research is dumb, but... I was completely taken aback by their exchange. Yikes! I am so sorry I had to hear all that, Spacey. Now had sent his team ahead of him and suggested that they meet later. He then smiled at me brightly as I stood there in utter disbelief. Is it just me, or do you two actually not get along at all? No, it's not that. How can I put this? That's a typical greeting between us. But your team looked like they were ready to pounce on Cyan.
Our exchanges included that risk. Call it factional warfare.
Now that you mention it, I remember Dalhood telling me that he works on different research from yours. That's right. You know how relivers can't carry over excess emotions due to limited memory capacity in the heart?
My team, Team Zero, simply views emotions as code, and we leave it at that. Instead, we aim to create relivers of such physical durability that they can efficiently withstand the curse of death. Our focus is on survival efficiency.
Efficiency, the core research topic of a faction within the Institute. Their objective is to develop relivers with greater physical resilience to the curse of death. They are against transferring strong emotions that would cause an overflow of data from the heart, which acts as a reliver's memory bank. The faction is led by Cyan Brophies. Okay. I mean, I get it. It's kind of like we can't do both. So. And my team focuses on improving memory storage for auxiliary features, with less focus on longevity. We prioritize creating relivers that can retain all emotions and be as human as possible. To be fair, I feel like you should have like option A and B if you can't have B, like C, which is both. And like you should have the option as a reliver to be like, yeah, no, I want to make sure I can live in my body longer from the curse. I don't need my emotions. Because like Cyan, right, doesn't need his emotions. He doesn't have any. But like, let's just say you're going to be a reliver, but your family decided not to be, and you don't have strong attachments to people. You're like, I'm not too concerned. It's not like I have a family member I'm worried about not loving. I don't worry about breaking up with my boyfriend. Like, it's just, whatevs. I think I'm going to be fine. Because, I mean, we've seen the instances, but we don't know for 100% fact that, like, if Lucas and Nadia, say, became relivers, that they would just hate each other and not love each other. Would their strong, like, sibling bond be there? Maybe not as strong as before, but that doesn't mean they'd be like, you suck and I hate you. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we saw it with the romance partners, and that was to illustrate to us that, like, this is a problem. But it's not necessarily 100% a problem. Like, you could still, like, I love my family, and to me, I'm like, I don't think that becoming a reliver would mean that all of a sudden I hate my family. Or I'm totally indifferent to them. But I also don't have the bond that, like, Lucas and Nadia seem to have, because I'm like, that seems a little crazy. I don't love my family that much. Jesus. It's not Alabama, okay? Like, I'm not keeping it in my... You know what I mean? Like, obviously you want some emotion, so when someone in your family dies, you're not like, oh, that's a shame. And then you keep going on with your life like nothing happened. Like, obviously, but, like, I don't have the intense bond of love that, like, Lucas and Nadia had where I'm, like, concerned about it. Like, like, my family has their own lives, and, like, I like spending time with them when I have to. You know what I mean? But it's not like, oh my god, me and my sisters hang out all the time. Like, I saw them over New Year's. It's now March. Whatever. Like, you know what I mean? We have our own lives. We're not that, and I wouldn't even say we're not close, but we're not that close. It seems weird to say we're not, like, because it's not it at all. But, like, we're not like, oh my god, we're best friends and we go shopping all the time and they're and we have slumber parties together and, like, Like, Lucas and Nadia are, like, besties over here. They're, like, joined at the hip. Like, borderline, like, you're getting a little too in love with your sister. It's borderline creepy. You know what I mean? Like, we're not that intensely close. But we're also not like, oh, yeah, I have a sister, that bitch. You know what I mean? I feel like we're average. We're, like, normal closeness. Like, I don't know. Doesn't feel weird to me. Like, I don't sit there and go, oh my god, my family's abnormally close, or oh god, we're abnormally not. I'm just like, isn't this normal? Maybe not. Maybe it's not for everybody, you know? But like, so it seems to me like in this world that like, yes, if you have very intense emotions, my passionate, intense love for Cyan would be wiped out, and they'd be like, oh yeah, now you're just some guy. And that could suck because that's an intense emotion. But your sibling bonds, like how we feel about Sister Salome and Adolphe, like, oh, they're our family, you know, whatever, we love them. I don't necessarily think that in every instance that would be like, oh, yes, you are Adolphe, I do know you. We're going to turn into a robot. You know what I mean? So I don't think that that's always the case. It's not that you would always become emotionless. It's just super strong emotions take up more space. So, but if you were someone who's like, yeah, no, I've got normal bonds, I have friends, and they're cool, and like, but I don't have an intense, passionate love affair with someone, so like, you could choose, I'd rather take the longevity path. Or, no, you know what? Like, I just got engaged, and I can't imagine, like, I have a wife and kids, and like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you'd want to take, like, I understand I might have to back myself up a little bit sooner, but I'd rather keep my emotions. So you could have both. Yes, it's not, you have one, you have A or B. It'd be nice to be able to have C, but you can't right now, but at least you have an option. And that should be up to the people. That's just me sitting here on the fence being like, there are positives to both. And it'd be nice if we could work on figuring out how to get both of them to play together. But until we can, people have choice A. Do you want to live longer where you don't have to back yourself up as often, which means save money, but you might lose all your emotions. But if you don't have super strong attachments to cool. Or do you take B, where you might end up starting the curse a little bit earlier, so you're going to have to back yourself up sooner. That's going to cost more money, your return on investment. Okay, but you get to keep your emotion, and you'll still have your like love and passion for your wife and your kids. Pick one, you know? I'm just saying. But that's just me realizing that you can actually do sort of both until you can figure out how to make both play nice together. Thinking outside the octagon here. Anyway, we prioritize creating relievers that can retain all emotions and be as human as possible. Science faction deals with survival, but ours deals with emotions. Emotions, the core research topic of a faction within the Institute. Their objective is to develop relivers that are able to retain their emotions in order to be as human as possible. They believe modifying the heart, which stores emotions, is key to achieving their mission. The faction is led by Dahut. And they're like still friends and buddies, but they're just on opposite sides. Huh? I think you can see why the difference in objectives can cause friction between our teams. Which is why our team members are constantly at odds with each other.
And these situations become quite bothersome. In order to keep their bloodlust at bay, we engage in surface-level fights as leaders of each faction.
I am so fucking happy that it's all just a fucking front. Okay, that's all I wanted. I was like, I don't like this. I'm like, please tell me they're just playing, and thank God they are. That is adorable. They have a better bromance than I thought. It made sense after they explained it. So you're only pretending not to get along so that your subordinates don't take the initiative? Yep. We drop the act when we're actually working together in private. Now it continued by saying their researchers seemed to think the joint project was a front to maintain the appearance of cooperation. Seeing them like this is a relief after what happened earlier. I know, it is for me too. You don't even understand. I was like, no, I don't want this. Okay. I was glad they were only pretending. Me too. Joy in my heart. But most of Cyan's insults come from his real opinion, so I can't say it has no effect at all.
Huh? It wouldn't be a problem if you weren't still clinging to useless emotions.
Can you not say that part in front of my guys? One day you're really gonna get it. Seeing my eyes widen, Dahut played with his hair and continued. So anyhow, despite Cyan's reign over the facility, things are a bit more confusing than they seem. But we're not gonna make things awkward in private, so don't worry.
And there's no need to tell her that, since she'll get used to this soon enough. And That said, you're going to be working for me now, so you better be prepared to get pestered by his pawns. Prepare to be pestered by his pawns.
Love it. Okay. I answered hesitantly, but I didn't agree to the new job yet. Despite the fact that I had never accepted, it already seemed Cyan had made the decision for me. And we'll stop there. He made the decision for me, and I can't wait for our mom to be pissed. But you see, like, okay, Dahut seems to have emotions. Like, Cyan has none. Now, Dahut also doesn't have intense emotions, like, doesn't have, like, oh, I had a girlfriend and a wife and a child or anything like that. I mean, he was 15, but you know what I mean? He doesn't have those emotions, so... But he still has emotional intelligence. He still has that. So, like, whatever emotions they can carry forward, he still has them. He still has basic ones. He's still happy-go-lucky. He's still, science frustrating and whatever. He's not a complete and utter robot, but he doesn't have an intense love for anyone. So, like, yeah, he can't carry that. He didn't carry that over. And, like, Salome, she has normal emotions. She cares about people. She's a caring human being. So, like, she still has emotions. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the love and affection she has for the children she takes care of, specifically all of us, may not be there if she became a reliver tomorrow. She'd be like, oh yes, Basie, right? She might not have that same desire to protect us and that emotional bond with us, because that might be toned down a little, but she'd still be a caring individual who is there to take care of the children and whatever. Because the way she is, she's not like, oh yes, here is food for children, whatever. She's not a total robot. So you do still have emotions in this world. Some emotions do transfer over. They're just not the intense emotions. And you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you love someone, but that passion, but it's the same thing with time. So becoming a reliver is no different than just fast forwarding 20 years. Just some people 20 years later are just as much in love, if not more in love than they were before. And sometimes that fades. So if you took a normal relationship where you're like, oh my God, it's so amazing, we're like the best, and then 10 years later, you're like, or a couple years later, you're like, yeah, you know, it kind of fizzled out, the honeymoon phase is over, and like, no, this isn't, you know what I mean? That's why there's the honeymoon phase. In any relationship, when you first start seeing someone, you see everything that's magical about them, and you're totally in love with them, and they're perfect. And then all of a sudden you realize they're actually not perfect, and they're feeling the same way about you, and you're like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work. You know? And then naturally, those relationships end. There are ones that continue because past that magic glow phase, you're like, no, they're actually even better than I thought, you know? Or you settle in and you're like, okay, yeah, a lot of the things I was saying was so great about them was just the magic glow phase, but after that fades away, they're still an awesome person and I enjoy spending time with them. You know what I mean? But like all this with Relivers, it's just the magic glow phase that we have, and we've been together 20 years and it still feels great. That's just gone now. And you're like, you know, actually, the way you look when you chew fucking pisses me off and I hate you. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Where that's just gone now. So like, it's almost in a way just an analogy for like how time deals with certain emotions in you. You know what I mean? Like, think about it when someone's passed away. How intense when it first happens, how awful those feelings are, how bad you feel, just those just intense, sad emotions. And it's not that they ever go away. You know what I mean? They're always going to be there. They come and resurface, but there's a point where you can talk about those people, you can talk about those things, and even if you feel a little sad, you're not like sobbing hysterically on the floor. The intensity of those emotions have faded out because you've learned how to process and deal with them, and you're like, obviously you don't feel happy about what happened. There's still a sadness, but you're like, I can handle that because they've toned down. You know? It's like that. Instead of just being so devastated, it's as if 5-10 years has passed and you're like, I'm still sad about it and I miss that person, but I don't sob hysterically every 5 minutes. Just once in a while. Me, I'm thinking about my dad. Like, obviously, my dad's been gone for 7 years. It still fucking hurts. And sometimes you still get that bitch slap in the face where you're like, oh my God, wait a minute. And you remember things and it still hurts and you still cry. It's never going to stop being like that. You know what I mean? It will never go away. 20 years from now, I will still have those moments. But there are other times where, like, right now, I can talk about it and say my dad passed away and it was a devastating time and it's never not going to hurt. But I can talk about it and be okay because those emotions have settled. And the normal course of my day is my life is still here. I have to deal with that without this person in my life, you know? And like, you know, it's just unfortunately with being a reliver, it's like all those are gone and you will never have those moments where you were devastatingly sad. And that's seems like it sounds like a good thing, but part of being a human is being sad. And if you're never sad, how can you know if you're ever happy? You know? Anyway, let's not get into that. We spent 5 minutes on it, but so I mean, the basic point is people still have emotions. They just don't have the strong, intense emotions, and that's a problem, you know? Because everyone's kind of just, yeah, no, I'm happy. I get everybody's in the state of The Sims of fine. You're never ecstatically happy. You're never really depressed. You're just fine. And I mean, I guess that's fine, but that's not really being fully human, is it? So. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.